Hello guys, good morning. This is the part 2 of our topic HTML. In this module, we learn about how to create an HTML web page or how to save. As well as we also learn about different use of different of attribute with BRHR tag. So let's start our part 2 HTML. In the first, we learn how to create and save an HTML. As I already told you about that when we want to use create an HTML web page, that time we use a text editor. Means to create a web page using HTML is fairly simple. You do not require any fancy software. Write HTML code. Some of the example are front page and Weaver. So we require just only a simple text editor like Notepad in Windows to write a code. Second thing is that when we click on Start to Notepad to start an application and type the code in the Notepad, as we already discussed about some of the text in the previous. For saving, how to save? Simply, the thing is very simple. When you want to save, simply click on the Save dialog box. In the dialog box open, give the file name along with .htm or .html. Actually, these are the extension of HTML web page. Like this. In the first box appears, type the name of the file and say first.html. This is an example. So and click on the save button. Now let's check have a scenario of a web page. Here that is a first HTML my first web page, head, title, HTML coding, head, body. This is my first web page, body, HTML. This is an example of the simple web page. Now how to use? Access a web page using web browser. Simple. Second thing is that now we create and as well as save the HTML web page. Now where do we see or where we have to open our web page that is working or not? For this we use a simple web browser. How to use? Executing an HTML code is fairly simple. You may simply go to the relevant folder through Windows File Explorer and go to the folder where you had stored in the file. .first HTML we already have an example. Simply double click on the file and default web browser opens file and your default web browser opens and displays output of the HTML code. You can also execute your .html code through Windows Explorer by a right click and file from the context pop-up menu, select open with option and click the web browser where you want to see the content. That means simply open your file into a web browser. It is very easy to open and watch your web page. Now the second thing is that the most important thing, tabbed browsing. What is tabbed browsing? What is tabbed browsing? Tabbed browsing means whenever we open internet or any browser, that time one tab is to be open on the screen. We at that time we use more than one tab altogether when we want to open more than one website or more than one web page on it. That is called tabbed browsing. It's a feature almost every browser that enables you to open multiple websites or web pages on a single browser window. Okay, let's move. Tabs and switch between them by clicking the tabs you want to view. Now here we are talking about, as I told that we are talking here about the attributes. Now the first attributes of the body tag. Body tag we already know. Whenever we want to enter any component or any kind of data, we use body tag. Body tag is the main component of the web page. So following are some of the attributes used with body tag. We are talking about this. First one is changing background image using background. Now, if we want to use any background of our web page, we use background tab or background image. How to use the background attribute of the body tag is used. Add an image as a background for the web page. Make sure to give your part of the file in the background attribute correctly for the browse to locate the file. It is very necessary to locate the file first. Otherwise, the browser will not open your picture on the screen. An easier technique is to keep the HTML file and background image in the same folder. That is much easier. That to keep both things in the same folder to easy to open it. Now, with the help of this, we use the thing Your HTML source code should like this. Here is one example how to insert a background image. HTML head title, HTML coding title, body background is equal to background.jpg. That is an example of an image. I just put here for an example. So this is the tag body and this is the attribute of this body background. So now after completing this, when we open the web page, we already checked that the background is already changed. Now the replication of image on the web browser. Replication of the image on the web browser is called tilling. Tilling, that means where you will change the pictures on the background. That is called tilling. Now the BG color and the text. After changing the image, we also want to change the color of the text as well as the background. As we very well known that by default the text color is black while the background color is white. So to change the background color of web page, you once again need to use attribute of BG color in the body tag. How to use? Simply for an example, body BG color is equal to put the name of the color. Here I put green. So note that attribute BG color has the value as green. This will change the background color of the web page. That means here with the help of this we change the back page color. To change the default color of text, if we want to change the color of the text, we use extra attribute called text in the value as white in the body tag. For an example, body BG color is equal to green, text is equal to white. In that case, when we open our web page, the background color will be changed into green while the text should be in white. But by default, I already told you about that that background is always white and color of the text is black by default. After that, we move to the next of proportion of BR tag. What is BR tag? Line break, we already discussed about. It's an empty tag. As we already discussed in our part 1, the BR tag is an empty tag and is used to force a line break in HTML. The BR tag ensures that text or image will be displayed in the next line when on a browser. BR tag is an empty tag. No closing is required to force a line break in HTML. So without the BR tag, you will not be able to force a text to the next line, even if you write in HTML code. That means if you write with the use of enter, you change the line at the time of texting and you thought that it will change the line, but not. Without BR, your text will not be entered into the next line. Simply, so now after we move to the HR tag, that is called horizontal rule. What is the horizontal rule? Actually, the BR and HR tag is an empty tag and therefore do not require a closing tag. This is used to create a horizontal rule to represent a thematic break in a topic. That means it just cuts a line in between of the topic. So how to do this? The HR tag forces a line break and draws a horizontal line again followed by a line break. How it is used? By default, the size of the horizontal rule is 3 pixels. That means the line is very thin. We also change the size of this line. How to change? The HR tag also comes with various attributes. So here we have discussed about HR tag attributes. The very first attribute is size. How to change the size? As I already told you that the by default size is 3 pixels only. The size attribute of the horizontal tag is used to specify the height of an horizontal rule in pixels. For example, HR tag in the above example. HR size is equal to 20. That means here we change the thickness of the HR tag or horizontal line. With the help of this, we change the thickness of the horizontal rule. Now the second attribute is width. The width attribute of the horizontal tag is used to specify the width to the horizontal rule in pixels or percentage. How it is used? Simply with an example we understand it. HR width is equal to 100. That means it's change the width of the horizontal line. Will produce a horizontal rule of 100 pixels which is aligned at center. Always remember that horizontal line always be by default in center. The specifying the width in percentage is more preferable and is therefore recommended to be used. For an example, how to use HR width 50% align left. That means it is about the alignment. Now next is align attribute. What is align? Align means alignment. How to maintain alignment? Center, left and right. Here the align attribute of HR tag generally used to align the horizontal rule either left, right or center. This attribute is generally used when the width attribute is specified. This is because HR tag without the width attribute produce a horizontal rule that fills up rule that fills up the entire line of the browser. So here the next one is color. How? Now we just put a horizontal rule in between of our web page, but we don't want to use the simple black line. We want to change the color of it. How to do? Simply, the color attribute of the HR tag is used to render a horizontal rule with the color of specified in this attribute. For an example, HR size equal to 20, color is equal to red. Then the horizontal rule come along with the red color. We'll create the following output on the browser. As I told you that it will change into the red color. Now the no shade. Shade, that means whenever we put a horizontal rule in our web page, that it also produce a shade into it, but we don't want to show the shade of that horizontal line. Then what we do? We simply use the no shade attribute. No shade attribute draw a horizontal rule without any shade, which unlike default produces a shade horizontal rule. For example, HR size 20 no shade and HR size is equal to 20. Produce a shade and unshaded horizontal rule and respectively. After this is the end of our part 2 as well as HTML proportion. Most important thing, remember one thing, that when we put any of value in alphanumeric manner, we always use double inverted comma whenever we put in any of attribute. As well as I hope so you are well at your home. So thank you very much being our user, and always remember that we study well at your home. Thank you.